Welcome to the Pimp Your Brilliance podcast with Monique Malcolm, a show about leveraging your existing knowledge, unique skills, or passion to build a thriving creative business. I aim to show you what's really possible when you stop letting fear have all the fun and start taking action towards your goals. You can learn more about this show and subscribe for updates by visiting pimpyourbrilliance.com. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Pimp Your Brilliance. I'm so glad that you're here. This is episode number 92, and you can find show notes at pimpyourbrilliance.com/92. Today, I want to talk about how to prepare your business for systems. And I am really excited for this episode because it probably comes as no secret if you've been listening to this show for a while that I am a bit of a systems nerd. I love planning. I love organizing information. And I'm always looking for ways to streamline things and for ways that I can do more with less work. I want to do as few mouse clicks as possible when it comes to the work that I need to get done in my business. And I really, really love for things to flow and to be efficient. So today's episode is one that I'm excited to record for you because I get to nerd out about a topic that I love. And I'm so giddy to talk about systems and all these system tips that I have. But one thing that I do know about systems is that you need them, but it can be very overwhelming figuring out where to start. And I hear these questions all the time. Things like, do I need a lot of fancy tools and softwares to systemize my business? Do I need a team? How do I know when my business is ready for systems? And to quickly answer those questions, I'm not going to make you wait. No, and from day one. Those are my answers. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. As always, I'm here to teach you, to make things simplified and easy to understand. And to do that, we have to start at the top by talking about what systems are. And I've probably defined this before on a previous episode. Actually, I know that I have defined this before, but maybe you missed it. Maybe you need a refresher. I'm going to tell you anyway. What are systems? A system is a decided way, method, or process of doing something in your business. Whether you realize it or not, your business already has systems because by definition, they are your specific way of doing things in your business. Now, when you hear the term systems and processes, sometimes those can be used interchangeably, but I'm going to define them for you anyway because I really like to make sure that you understand the words that I'm using. And I just think it helps you become a better, more knowledgeable business owner when you know what different terms and things that we use in the industry mean. So systems versus processes. Processes are a series of steps or actions involved in the way work is completed. So basically, processes are how you get stuff done in your business. And as you can see, processes are a component of your overall system. So a good analogy for this, if systems are your recipe, processes are the steps. And that's how I like to think of them. So your system is your overall process, the different things that you do in your business, how you actually perform those tasks. And then the process is actual steps of that task. For any repetitive task that you have in your business that you're doing over and over again, you need to have a process in place. It needs to be systemized. And the reason being is that systems allow you to delegate work and they allow you to also scale your business. This is something that I think is overlooked by a lot of smaller, like solopreneur type businesses. How much of an impact having systems in your business can really have on the amount of work that you have to do, how much input and effort that you're having to put into things, because a lot of things can really, really be systemized. And once we systemize them, we can outsource them. And when we put systems in place in our business, it gives us space and it frees up time to take a vacation. I know me personally, I love a good day on the beach, like laying out, not checking my phone, reading a book, splashing in the water, and just having a day of it. But when you are on this like creation treadmill all the time for your business, it can really be difficult to find times to relax, to unplug. But when you have systems in place, it does free up your time for that. It also gives you the mental space to think bigger picture in your business. Maybe you have some incredible vision about your business and how it's going to be in the future. Maybe you want to manage a huge team. And even if you don't aspire to manage a huge team, I still think that you probably want to work less in your business. When you have processes in place, that's how you're able to make that happen. Processes help you scale your business. And your business needs processes because they eliminate guesswork. You always know the next step. If you follow the process, you know the next step. They deliver repeatable results every time you follow the process. So if you want to hire someone and you want to make sure they're getting the same results that you are, you have them follow the process. They make it easier to outsource or delegate work. So if you had a virtual assistant or you hired some type of a contractor or even a full-time employee, you're going to want them to follow your processes. You're going to want them to follow your systems. And when you think about this, every business has something like this in place. If you worked at McDonald's, they have a process for how you make the fries. I used to work at Universal Studios when I was in high school. I worked at Islands of Adventure on the River Adventure ride, which was one of my favorite jobs. If I was not like an adult, I would totally go back and do that job because I had such a great time. But at that job, there were processes that we had to follow. It's like you're working on a ride. So we had processes for how we unloaded people onto the boats. There were processes on how we got people off the boats. There were processes on how we dispatched the different boats to go out. Even we had processes in place for what do we do in emergency. So if somebody jumps off the ride, which people tend to do, or the boats get stuck, or, things go off the wire, off the rails, there were processes in place for how we safely offload guests from the boats during the ride. So processes are just something that you should come to expect in all businesses. And it doesn't really matter the size of the business. They are still very beneficial. Processes also help eliminate overwhelm by freeing up mental space. And my favorite part about having processes in your business is that they make it easier to find tools to automate parts of your workflow. And as I've already mentioned, I want to be as hands-off as possible on my business because there's already so many hats that I wear. There's already so many things that I have to do. So if I can automate pieces of it and make it run just the way that I want to do that. So I want to share 4 tips that I have to help you prepare your business for systems. Consider this like your quick start guide. These are the 4 things that you need to do to make sure that your business is ready to be systemized and organized and really streamlined. And if you follow these 4 tips, I promise you'll be ready to move on to fancy tools and other things eventually. But for now, let's just make sure our businesses are ready for systems by making sure we have our processes documented. So the first thing that you need to do is to figure out what systems you actually need to create. This is something that hangs people up, but I promise it's not that complicated. It's really just a matter of thinking about what activities do you do in your business on a daily basis. So what you need to do is you need to write down all of the systems that you need to create. And you can do this by brainstorming the different buckets that make up your business. I have a few examples for you to help you get your creative juices flowing. So examples of business systems: content marketing. If you're a blogger, a podcaster, a YouTuber, whatever, you need to have a system in place for how you create your content. Social media. Whether you're an influencer, you're posting Instagram stories or tweets or TikToks or whatever it is, pick your poison. There needs to be some type of system in place for creating your editorial calendar, creating the content, getting it edited and scheduled, those types of things, tracking metrics for how much engagement you got. Each of those things are different systems those are different processes that you can create for your business, but the overall system is social media. Customer service. So whether you're answering emails, you are processing refunds, again, customer service is another system that you want to take a look at for your business. Accounting, bookkeeping, that type of stuff you need to think about. New client onboarding is another system. And if you're a maker or you run some type of an e-commerce store, you probably want to consider order fulfillment and how you handle that. So those are some different areas of your business that you can think about to help you uncover what type of activities are you doing on a day-to-day basis inside of your business. The goal is to be as thorough as you can, even if it seems like it's something simple or a really routine task. Don't rule it out, write it down. Once you have all of those tasks listed out, you need to determine 3 things. Is it required for your business to function? Is it a recurring task? And do you follow the same steps to complete it each time? If your answer is yes to all 3 questions, it's time to develop a process for those tasks. So you might want to highlight it, check mark it, draw a circle around it, star it, whatever you want to do. If it's not a recurring task, but it is required for your business to function, that task can be added to your to-do list as a one-off project. You probably don't need a system or a process for it. And then if it's not recurring or required, you need to evaluate, why are you even doing it? So is this something that you really need to be doing for your business, investing your time in? And if it's not, exit off, scratch it, put it on your someday list, but don't even spend time on it. Now, your second step is to identify your DWM task, which stands for daily, weekly, monthly tasks. And I also made a note to also not forget quarterly and yearly tasks. Sometimes we overlook these things, but every task in your business needs to be done at certain intervals. Some are required daily, others need to be done weekly, while certain tasks only come up once a month or even once a quarter. So the next thing that you need to do is to decide how frequently tasks should be done. So go through your list that you just created, and next to each one of your tasks, add a D, a W, or an M next to it. And if it's a quarterly or a yearly task, you can use a Q or a Y for those. Try not to spin your wheels here too long. If you're not 100% sure about the frequency you need to do a task, write down what you think, and you can always tweak this later. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is one part determining what is the proper interval for each task, and it's one part finding out the right schedule for your specific business. So there isn't a right or a wrong here. It's really what works for you. The third step is to write out the steps in your process. And this is the fun part, but also this can be a bit overwhelming, especially if you realize you have a lot of systems in your business that you need to create. You're probably going to want to do this over multiple weeks. And depending on your business, it may take you a few months to get it all down. But for right now, we're not going to worry about documenting all of the processes. We're going to start with just one process. So try to pick something that is going to make a huge difference in your business. Maybe it's an important task that you do all the time. Maybe it's the one task that you do basically every day. It needs to be something that moves the needle. We don't want to just pick an aimless task that you're just doing once a month. Pick something that's going to be impactful. What you're going to do is you are going to think about what exactly it takes to complete a task, this specific task from start to finish. And then you're going to write out every single step. To make this easier, I suggest that you set aside about 30 minutes and go through the motions of doing the task so that you don't miss any steps. But after you have brainstormed the overarching task that you need to complete, you'll need to fill in the smaller details. So an example of this is thinking about this podcast. The larger parts of publishing a podcast are recording, editing, scheduling. But then there's a lot of smaller details that go into it. And some of those things are uploading to Libsyn, my podcast host, or generating the code to add a podcast player to the WordPress post. So there's small things like that, even down to the way that we create specific links for each episode. So those are the smaller details. You aren't aiming for a 100% perfect process. That's not our goal. The most important thing at this stage is to make sure you're capturing the beginning, middle, and end of the task that you are documenting. So that is step number 3. Moving on to step number 4, it's really probably one of the easiest ones. You're going to follow the process. That's your next step. At this point, you have your process, you've documented it. Hopefully there are no missing steps, but the process is still rough. So don't worry if you have forgotten a step. fill it in, keep moving. Don't beat yourself up. Your process is going to be something that you kind of live with and tweak and adjust over time. But the biggest thing is to commit to following that process, because over time, you're going to figure out ways to make it more efficient. You're going to figure out things that need to be taken away or maybe even added. You're going to improve the process. But that only happens with following the process, using it over and over again, and getting in the habit of taking your process from start to finish. Because as I mentioned earlier, if you ever want to outsource this to someone else, you need to make sure you have all of this stuff dialed in. Your process document is a living document, so you're going to want to make sure you're checking it on a regular basis, you're updating it when it needs to be, and you're making overall improvements to them on an ongoing basis. But I don't want to leave you at step 4 because I do have a bonus step. These previous 4 steps were really just to get you thinking about what systems you need, how to document your processes, and that's really the first beginning baby steps of getting your business ready for systems. Once you have an idea of your processes and some of the systems that you need for your business, you can start thinking about things like tools to help you manage these things and streamline stuff. And my favorite tool is a project management system. And so this is a bonus step, a step number 5 if you want to add your processes to a project management system. Project management systems aren't just for teams. As a solopreneur or a beginner business, you can also benefit from the organization and project tracking that is provided inside of a project management system. They're a great place for you to house your newly created documented processes, and also another really simple way to make sure that you commit to using them and that you are updating them on a regular basis. Because within a project management system, you can create process like templates for the different systems that you've mapped out for your business. So once you have added in the individual steps, you can use these over and over again. And you can set individual deadlines for the steps and different things like that based on your frequency. So not only does it help you stay on top of all the steps in your process and make sure that you're following it every time, it can increase productivity. And I also feel like it eliminates overwhelm, because I know once I go through the templates, I'm just checking off the different subtasks as I complete them. So again, I'm always knowing the next step. There's no thinking about what to do next. You just move on to the next thing. And it's just another extension of my brain. And I absolutely love project management systems. So you may be wondering, well, great, there's lots of project management systems on the market, or maybe you're not familiar with what's available. I suggest for people who are just starting out with systems and who are easily overwhelmed by shiny objects and bells and whistles to start with Asana. It's really simple. It's manageable. They have a great free plan that gives you a decent amount of features at no cost, and you can play around and really build up your systems muscles and get more experience using systems for your business. And because of that, I have created a training, a mini course, called Asana for Solopreneurs. And it's going to show you how to set up a free Asana account as your business's headquarters to help you track, manage, and complete all of the essential tasks that you need to carry out for your business on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And it's very quick to go through. All of the videos are short and to the point. I have walkthrough videos to show you how to set up your account, from covering the basics to more advanced topics like using your project management system as your business headquarters. I also have some bonuses in there. There are pre-made project templates, so you get to create different project boards inside of Asana, and I have created templates for you so that you don't actually have to start from scratch. You can upload my templates and then make tweaks to them. I also have done for you processes. So some of the processes that I use in my own business, I have shared them inside of this training, and you will have access to them so that you can tweak them, make adjustments to them for your own business, so you don't have to start from scratch and figure out how to do all of these things by yourself. and it's really easy to go through. The members of the Brilliance Lounge have had access to this course and they have loved it, and I would like to share that with you. So if you're interested in Asana for solopreneurs, you can find it over on the Pimp Your Brilliance website over in the Brilliant Systems shop, which is my new little resource hub that I am filling with trainings for all of my favorite business systems and tools that I love and that help me manage my business. I'm sharing with you how I use them and giving you walkthroughs and trainings on how to set them up quickly and hit the ground running. So Asana for Solopreneurs is the very first one, and you can find that by going to pimpyourbrilliance.com/shop, and you'll see Asana for Solopreneurs over there and get to read about all the goodness that is offered in that. So I hope you check it out. And even if you don't, still check out Asana. It's a really great starting point for project management systems. If you're just starting out, you want a lot of features for a very limited cost, and you just want to get your feet wet. So to quickly recap the 4 steps to get your business prepared for systems. Step number 1, figure out which systems you need to create. Number 2, identify your daily, weekly, monthly tasks, and don't forget about quarterly or yearly tasks. Step number 3, write out the steps in your process. And finally, step number 4, commit to following the process. Try it out, use it every single time. And then bonus step, add these processes to your project management system and get ready to flourish, because you are going to be a boss that's organized and ready to go. As always, I hope that this episode was useful to you and that I broke it down in a way that was simple and easy for you to understand so that you can go try these out in your own business. I would love to have your feedback. If you want to message me, you can hit me up on Instagram at Pimp Your Brilliance. I'm also very active on Twitter over at Star Chasers Only. If you want to send me a question for a future episode of the show, I would absolutely love that. You can go to pimpyourbrilliance.com/ask and leave your question there, and I would be happy to answer it on a future episode. So that's all I have for this week. But until next time, go out there and pimp your brilliance.